Good morning, welcome to Asher and Torah Anytime. The good news is that yesterday the visual part worked, the audio didn't, so that leads us to the second good news, that Chazal is an amazing, Chazal tell us all about the powerful effects of Chazal, so we're going to review again Perek Yud Zayin. Vayomer Eliyahu Tishbi Mitoishvei Gilad. So if you remember the last Perek, Eliyahu Hanavi notified for Achav that no rain would fall because the generation went into a deep state of worshipping Avodah Zarah. So now Vayomer Eliyahu Tishbi Mitoishvei Gilad al Achav Chai Hashem Elokei Yisrael Asher Amadati Lefonov V'miyah Hashonim O'ela Tal Umatar Kiyem Lefi Dvari. No rain is going to fall, and like the Gemara in Ksubis tells us that he didn't only give a decree against rain, it was Tal Umatar, dew, even dew also was included. Vayhi Dvar Hashem Elav Leimoid. And he said that the rain is only going to come Lefi Dvari when I say so. He imposed this Gezerah, and for 3 years it didn't rain. Vayhi Dvar Hashem Elav Leimoid. And the word of Hashem came to Eliyahu Hanavi after he made this decree, and he said, Lech mizeh, it's time for you to skip town. Ufanisa l'cha kedma, I need you to go to the east. V'nistartu b'nachal Kris asher al pnei hayarden, I need you to hide out in Nachal Kris, which is in the face of the Yarden, in order for you to have a water source. V'hoya me'anachal tishta, and from this stream you'll have water to drink. And the ravens I commanded to sustain you. Now here I found the interesting medrash that when Noach sent out the Oirev, he sent out the raven from the Teva, the Oirev told Noach, why are you sending me? I'm only 1 out of 2. All the behemoths Tameis only had 1 out of 2. So if something happens to me, then the entire species is going to cease to be. It's going to become extinct. It's going to be able to go onto the cemetery in Prospect Park. Where is it? In Bronx Zoo, they have that cemetery of all extinct species. The Oirev said, I'm going to join the cemetery of extinct species. So Noach told the Oirev, like, what are you good for anyway? You're not kosher. You can't be brought for sacrifices. You can't be eaten. So, like, yeah, you might become extinct. So Hashem told Noach that you never know what plans I have for anything, because I have a plan for this Oirev. I need this Oirev when I'm going to have Eliyahu Hanavi and Nachal Kris. Someone's going to have to be a courier service, and I have the Oirev. So make sure that you let him back into the Teva. The point is, we never know what something is here for. We can never say, you're a little cockroach, we don't need cockroaches. You know, if cockroaches go extinct, then the entire Bria, then if insects become extinct, then the whole world goes under. Vayelech vayasket var Hashem, vayelech vayeshev b'nachal Kris asher al pnei hayarden, v'oivim meviim lo lechem u'basar b'aboker v'lechem u'basar b'erev. So this Oirev would bring it bread and meat every single morning and noon, or morning at night. U'minan nachal yishteh. So the Mefarshim are all busy over here. How was he allowed to eat? Like, where was this meat coming from? Some say it came from the kitchen of Achav, and then the question is, how were you allowed to eat meat? It's Bashash and Salam and Ayin, and there's whole things. At what stage was there Gzeir of Bashash and Salam and Ayin? And even though they were over Avodah Zarah, they were still keeping, the basic halachas of kashrus was still being kept. Maybe it was a tzav ashar. Regardless, whatever it was, these oirvim were the ones who were bringing sustenance to Eliyahu Hanavi.
It was cut in a certain way.
It was what?
If it's cut in a certain shape.
Then that could be the simon. But I don't know if they cut it for Eliyahu. I mean, you could see bichlal that if it was cut a certain way, then it was a simon that it was kosher.
This meat and brought it. They clearly brought kosher meat.
Right. So there are those that say that the oirvim doesn't mean ravens. It means it was a tribe, just like Aravim. There was a tribe that was called Oirvim, and these people were trusted people, and they brought it. Regardless, And the stream dries up, because eventually, if there's no rain, then even the streams, the water source, depletes. And Hashem told Eliyahu Hanavi, Kum lech tzarfata asher letzidon, v'yashavta sham, go there, hine tzivisi sham isha almono lechalkelecha. I commanded this widow to take care of you. Vayakam vayelech tzarfata v'yovi al pesach ha'ir. She comes to the village gate. V'hine sham isha almono mikoisheshes eitrim. She's collecting wood, presumably to make a fire. Give me a little water from your keli, from your vessel that I could drink. Almost similar to like Rivka, like with Eliezer. She goes to bring a little water. And Eliyahu calls out to her. He says, by the way, bring me also a slice of bread. Bring me a little bread too. Like, he wanted to see how kind is she really. She swears by the name of God, if I have a ugo, if I have a little piece of mazonos, if I have a, how do you say a kichel in English? How do you say a cookie? Yeah, but
A roll.
a kichel. Ki maloi kaf kemach bakad.
Handful of flour.
If I have in my hand, all I have is a handful of flour in a little jug. I have a little oil in this jug. And I'm collecting a few twigs in order to make it. And I'm going to make it for me and my son. And I'm going to eat. We're going to eat it. And we're going to die. You have to understand that there was no Chesed 24, and there was no RSK, and there were no services that provided. There was no WhatsApp status that there's an almana with 2 children. No. Once you ate up what you had, and there was nothing left, so then you died. Don't fear, don't be afraid. Do what you said to go. Make these cookies. Make me from there a little cookie. First, bring me. Make whatever you're going to bake. Bring me first, and afterwards, make second. That means feed me first. Because this is what Hashem commanded. This vessel of flour is not going to no, it's not going to finish.
Yeah.
It's going to continue to pour flour. If it's a pachas Hashem and this jug of oil, it's not going to get diminished. There's going to be continuous flow of oil. Ad yoim teis Hashem geshem, until Hashem is going to bring down rain. Al pnei ha'adama.
Did he say this to her, or this is the pasuk telling us that that's why he told
It sounds like he's telling it to her.
You could read it to it. Ki kayam Hashem. In other words, because there's a samach.
Right.
They already have forced.
Either it's the pasuk is telling us that's why he's saying that, because he had a little well. Or he's explaining to her that there's going to be a miracle. In other words, she's listening to her because she heard the nevuah, or she's listening to him because she heard what he had.
Pasuk Pshat is that he's telling it to her, and the Indian of it is that why did he say you have to make for me first? I mean, what difference is to who you're going to make first? It was in order to bring down the bracha, in order to be mamshech, this hashpah from heaven, he needed her to go out of her zone. He needed her to go out of the derech eretz. He needed her to go out of the boundaries and the normal system of the bria, in order for him to be mamshech for her something that's out of the system of the bria. Right? It's like a pshai, like a stira masadis. You know that there was like this tashtich, and he would give out bilkelach from there, or he would take money from there, and it went beligvul. But in order to be Zoicha, you first have to do something that puts you into a different dimension in order for that dimension to continue bringing you that Shefa. It's also that he wanted it to do a mitzvah first, but it all works under the same context. So this woman actually listened, and she did this chesed, this tzedakah, and she went out of the normal zone. So, Uvesa Yomim, not only did they eat, but the entire household ate. Everybody who was there ate. And it began to pour shefa from this kadakemach loicholso, v'tzapachas Hashem shleichosik, kedvar Hashem asher diber biyad Eliyahu. This jug of flour. What's the difference between a kad and a tzapachas? The velvel. A kad and a tzapachas. Both of them are a jug, but one is a kad is a bowl maybe?
Jug of flour and crude of oil.
And a what of oil?
Yeah, tzapachas is for Shem, and it's like a glass thing, right?
Kad v'tzapachas. Anyway, they're two different vessels. Vahi acher advarim ha'ele, chala beno isha. So after this story, and an entire year they're being sustained, chala beno isha, balas habayis, her son becomes ill, vahi chol yechozak ma'od ad shelo noisre boi neshama, until he had no breath left. Neshama means breath. Neshama, like it says in the Alter Rebbe, says that neshima is neshama with a yud, with a nakuda. That al kol neshima tahalil ko. Anyway, the word neshama comes from the word neshima. Ada shelo noisre boi neshama. V'toimer Eliyahu, the woman tells Eliyahu, ma li v'lach ishu elikim. Why did you come to me, young man of God? Did you come to remind me of my sin and to kill my son? That means before you came to town, I was a tzadekis, I was good. Because relative to whoever was around me, I was fine. Now that you came and I have this very holy person, relative, it's like B'dorei Shel Avram. The question is, if you're nechshav, like Noach, what is he? It's relative to what? So now that you're here, everything I do gets scrutinized, and now because of that, because I'm in the presence and I'm being compared to such a great man like you, my sin is causing me for my son to die. Give me your dead child. He brings this dead child up to the second floor or to the attic where he was dwelling there. So he lies this child on his bed. Eliyahu Hanavi cries out to Hashem, and he says, Hashem Elikoi, is it not enough the evil that you brought, or the decree that you brought on the Jewish people from this Hatziras Geshomim? For this widow that I'm living by her, are you going to do bad to kill her child? Shouldn't he live in the schos of her being machnas oidech and being a balas chesed and the tzedakah that she's doing? He was mishtateach. He prostrated himself on this child, and he put his mouth on his mouth, and his eyes on his eyes, and his hands on his hands. Shalosh piyamim 3 times. Vayikra Hashem, and he called out to Hashem every single one of the times, and he said, Vayomer Hashem Elikoi, my Lord, Toshav no nefesh hayeled hazeh al kirboi. Bring back the soul of this child within him. Bring him back to life. Vayishma Hashem b'koil Eliyahu. And Hashem listened to the tefillah of Eliyahu Hanavi. V'atoshav nefesh hayeled al kirboi vayechi. And the child came back to life. Vayikach Eliyahu asayeled. He brought this child. Vayerideu min aliyah b'aisa. He brought him down from the attic down back to the house. Vayitneu li'imoy. He gave her to the mother. Vayomer Eliyahu, and Eliyahu Hanavi said, Re'i chai b'neich. See that your child is alive. And the question was, why did he have to say Re'i chai b'neich? I mean, obviously, if you see this kid coming down alive, you see chai b'neich. And the idea was that, many times we have miracles in our life. We have constant miracles all the time. We just don't notice it. So Re'i chai b'neich, see that your child is alive. You know how many times we had miracles in the past that we forget, and we lose touch with it. We think that it's we think as a kim tazoy. But when we notice and we say, like, can you imagine if everybody would go home and he would say the I chai b'nech? He would say the I chai b'ni. Could you imagine if we would say the I chai b'ni to all of our children? It's like we once said by Yaakov Avinu. It says, Yaakov Avinu, when he was mispal, he said, "V'nasati li lechem lechol li beged lilbosh." Well, obviously lechem is lechol and beged is lilbosh. What else do you think you gave me lechem for? But the answer is that he's saying, "V'nasati li lechem," you gave me bread, lechol. Beged, lilbosh. You know, when you say Birchas HaShachar in the morning, we go through in the times of Chazal, when a person, like, when he put on his talis, when he when he was when he put on his shoes. When you're aware of what you're doing and what's transpiring, then you become full of gratitude. And the woman told Eliyahu, now I know that you're a man of God. So Pashup Pshat is right. Pashup Pshat was that the kat shemen and the kat shemen and the shemen and the kemach, that was a nevuah. But here she saw that it was Ish Elikim. According to this Indian that we just said now, you know when you say Ata Yadati, when you say the Ichai B'nech, that's when I know that you're Ish Elikim. That means the Ish Elikim was the one that makes you aware of the miracles happening in your life. That's when you say, Alto Zayadati, now I know, Ki Ish Elikim, Alto, Udvar Hashem Beficho Emes. And that the words of Hashem in your mouth is true. But in Pashup Pshat it means not only that you had nevuah, but you also had that you also have the power to bring down and be Mamshech Yeshuas. L'chaim.